up on your device. So if you accept it, please press got it. If you say leave meeting, it will take you right out. Without further
Thank you.
ado, over to
Yeah,
Meg.
there's a lot of stuff to get sorted. So thank you everybody for your patience. And welcome to tonight's webinar. So we are excited to be hosting an open forum style webinar. We have asked, or council has asked self-advocates from across the province to email their concerns, their issues that affect their daily life to share with us so that we can discuss them this evening. So that's what we're going to be discussing in our presentation tonight. All of those concerns that have been shared by emails. What council plans on doing with these concerns that we're sharing tonight is bringing them to the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, Marilee Fullerton. Council has a meeting in person with her next week, where they will be given the opportunity to share all of these concerns with her and her team. So it's a very exciting opportunity. So we're really looking forward to a good conversation tonight about some of the most important topics that were emailed to council. I invite you to openly share, give your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions, further concerns in the meeting tonight. So I will get started. I hope everyone can see the screen here. I want to introduce the hosts for this evening's webinar, Scott Shiel and James Taylor. I'm going to give them an opportunity to go ahead and introduce themselves. So James, did you want to go first and introduce yourself for everyone?
Sure. As Meg said, my name is James Taylor. I live in London, Ontario, and I am the chair of Youth Advocates Group, supported by Community Living London. I've been a member of the council for the past 8 years. I am the past president of the council. During this time, I have had the opportunity to speak at Community Living Day of Registration and have met with previous ministers to discuss topics that is important to people with disabilities.
Thank you, James. Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you, James and Megan, for the introduction. I am Scott Shiel. I am in my second year serving on the Council for Community Living. I'm also the chairperson for People Helping People Achieve, a self-advocate group in Port Colborne, which lies on the shores of Lake Erie and is at the southern end of the Welland Canal. We will begin.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome. Our first topic for discussion tonight is housing. Some of the concerns shared by self-advocates include the lack of safe, affordable, and accessible housing, being able to choose where you live and with whom, and the lack of funding to support people to live independently, like in a supported independent living situation. Does anyone have similar concerns about housing or anything they would like to share about feelings where they live? I'm going to open it up to the audience now. Go ahead, Shady.
I am concerned about housing because it's just so hard to find, and I'm worried that if I have to move, that it'll be hard for me and my family to find affordable housing because it takes years just to find it. I don't get why the government doesn't make enough housing.
Thank
Excellent
you,
question,
JD.
Sadie.
Go on to Mark C.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'll turn on my camera for like 1 second here, but I won't leave it on because anxieties. But I'm Mark. I live in a supportive living home. However, I have not had services from that home since January 6, 2018, and they've been trying to evict me. I primarily there's people with physical disabilities here, but there's also people like myself with dual diagnosis of a global developmental delay or whatever, and anxiety, depression, and I struggled to find myself. They didn't help me. They used my my mental health against me. The government, nobody steps in the appropriate way to have the right supports for people that may want to file a complaint against their supportive living home, which according to the Northeast Lynn where I live, they're allowed to, well, now it's called Ontario Health or whatever. They're allowed to have their own individual complaint processes. They're allowed to, they tried to threaten me with a 3-day suspension of services. And I said, no, that's not right. I'm going to human rights. And then shortly after that, my services were terminated. That being said, it's been one of the best things that has long-term ever happened to me, but the stress and that the you know, the knowledge that I'm lucky to have the supports that I do with a community living service agency in my town that works as a partner with community living. And it just, we need more like more understanding, more true sensitivity and knowledge to just the oppression that we have to deal with. And I could go on and on about this because I've been dealing with this for the last 5 years, but it's going to get me emotional and I don't want to take too much time, but long term, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. But I also have knowledge that I'm very lucky, and that's why I continue to try and raise awareness about this. I dropped a link to try and raise awareness about it. No obligation to look at it, sign it, whatever. But if anybody can reach out to me or we can work together to fix this for other people, that would be great.
And just so you know, Mark, I've added the link you provided with the note beside it. I've added it to our resources thing at the end, which I'll be touching on at the end of the webinar.
Thank you very much, sir.
Not a problem.
Go ahead, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. My concern is the same as Mark, and I also have another concern. With the pandemic, I'm in an assisted living place too, and the staff are overworked and they are leaving. There's such a huge turnover, even more so before the pandemic, because they're working so hard and they are going on stress leaves. And my other concern for housing is the raising of rent each month. I don't experience that myself, as I'm in what do you call it, gear to income rent. But for those that aren't and are on ODSP, I worry about the rent increases every month. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Yvonne.
Hi, I'm speaking for Yvonne. My name is Caitlin. I have a problem because like I live on my own, plus rent, plus utilities and all of it. It's hard for me to be able to do anything or go out and do anything. And I have medical issues too, and it costs a lot and I don't have enough for the full month.
Thank you, Yvonne. We'll go on to Mark and Ninja.
Okay, thank you. It's Mark here. I have the same thing too, like ODSP gives us so much money, but once I'm afraid if I'm seeing with the other people, if I have to move, ODSP only gives us 11 something. And if rent's, let's just say 1,500, how are we supposed to afford rent and food at the same time? I'm lucky I get subsidized, but I'm worried about the other people too.
Thank you, Mark and Ninja.
Yep.
We'll go on to Linda Hunt now. Go ahead, Linda.
Hello, everyone. I think the biggest concern that I have, and I do a lot of advocacy work. I'm in the Brantford area, but the biggest concern I have is there is a lot of, especially in this area, there's a lot of efforts on behalf of the municipality to improve affordable housing. But what they do not consider is the need to improve access to accessible affordable housing. So we've had a number of projects being built with municipal tax dollars that are, they might build a 45, for example, a 45 unit complex, but only 4 of the units are accessible. And what I would really like to see, especially when we're using tax dollars, is that all 45 of those units should have been built accessible, so that the wait list from the municipal housing standpoint is that anybody on the wait list can live in a fully accessible unit. But by making the silos where the accessible units are only a certain percentage of what's being built, I'd really like to see legislation around the fact that if municipalities especially are using tax dollars to build affordable housing units, that those affordable housing units are all built with the principles of universal design, and so that they are accessible for everyone, instead of having these what basically amounts to 2 different wait lists depending on your disability and the fact that you require an accessible unit.
Thank you, Linda. We'll go on to Erica.
Hi, so my name's Erica. I'm from Toronto. I've found out, I'm not sure where, but there's for people who are living on their own or semi-independent living, there's, I'm not sure what their circumstance is, but there's a Ontario, it's basically, it helps you with it pays your electricity for, like, if you're using like dishwasher or the shower. So I think it's like Ontario, I don't know, it's something with electricity. So I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but I'm sure someone can Google it and find it. But it basically helps with it basically covers your electricity, so you don't have to pay anything, whether you're subsidized or at home, or I'm not sure about the home, if you're at home, if you're living with your family, how that works, but I'm sure you can look into it and see what's involved in that, because I've been helping, I'm on that, and it really helps I don't have to pay electricity, because it does get expensive.
I believe it's the Ontario Home Energy.
Yes.
Something rather, yeah.
Yes. So that's been very helpful.
Will we go on to the next topic, Nico?
Oops,
I think
sorry.
I think that's a good idea, Scott. If we Judy, I still see your hand is raised,
Yeah.
but we might want to move on, just so that we can, for the sake of time, get all of the concerns in tonight. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. Just give me 1 second.
Go ahead, please, James.
Okay. Okay, the next topic for discussion is on ODSP. Discussion is people who have a disability live in poverty and how ODSP is not enough to keep people out of poverty line, above the poverty line. People should be allowed to keep money earned from work without having it taken away from ODSP. Why are people who have a disability sometimes expected to volunteer for work rather than getting paid like someone without a disability? Does anyone have any questions to add to this concerns explaining sectors to share? Does anyone have anything about the ODSP?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, disability doesn't let us work long enough for one thing. And if we worked on a certain amount of time, they take our money away from ODSP. I think it's like a $200 minimum that you can make over your ODSP, but that's not a lot, especially considering that rent is going up and groceries are going up really high. And yeah, I'm concerned about that. It affects me because I still live with my parents, but my mom works only part-time, but there's still money taken away from my dad's ODSP, and my dad cannot work. And I'm concerned about living on my own. Like, how am I gonna support myself when I live on my own? And like, why would I need to volunteer when like I am only making $200 or something, and then the rest of it, once I work a certain amount of time, then the rest of the money will be taken away from my ODSP. And another concern I have is that people with ODSP don't really get much of a raise, while everyone else does. Like if you're on disability, you don't really get as much of a raise. And also we don't get as much taxes anymore as everyone else. Like my mom, she got to get taxes, but for me and my dad, it's hard for us to get our taxes as well, just because we're on disability. So yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
I agree with you because people on ODSP, they're not getting enough money to live on. Because I know some people, they have to either rely on food banks in the past to get the groceries or to pay their rent. And it's not enough money for people to live on, because the ODSP should be raised so that people that have a disability could be above poverty line. And I see where you're coming from, because it's not fair to people. If you want to get a job, that you only got so much to go on for a job, and it's not enough to do that. But I think, you know, the government needs to step up and realize that people who have ODSP need to live like everybody else and not have to be out of poverty, because it's not fair for us to live below the poverty line. Any other questions?
I think I see Sadie Thompson.
Go ahead, Sadie.
Oh, I'm good. I already
Oh,
talked about
You
my
already went.
concern.
Yvonne, I see Yvonne Spicer.
Go ahead, Yvonne.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I am, when it comes to ODSP, I am, like Nat Sadie is saying, that if we get a job, half of our money goes to pay the government back. I feel that is incorrect. That it should not be having to happen to any of us. I find that if we want to work like everybody else, we should have that option and not have to be clawed back just because we decide to get a job. We should be able to keep all our money that we make. I find that ODSP, since I'm on the coalition for ODSP and I attend the monthly meetings, just to even that we need to speak up and start going and rallying the government, because they're already giving increases to many people all the time, just because they, so like Doug Ford and their city council and other people, where we don't get a raise. We are basically have to live whatever money they give us, or like the 1% that we only got, which we should have got more than that. To bring us up to what we should get, you're looking at 60% raise, just that to lift us out of poverty. I'm wondering, since the coalition for ODSP is going to be doing a picketing rally in May of this year, they're going to go and do down in Queen's Park. They have suggested to me to tell all of you that go, because it's election year, please go and talk to your MPP and make them aware of the issues. Get them to understand what we all are all going through. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to stay the same, where we don't get anywhere close to where we should be.
Thank you, Yvonne. I agree. We should, go see your MVPs, because we could extend those issues to them and tell them how people feel who's on ODSP, that we shouldn't be getting clawback money from our jobs when we're working, and we should have enough money to live on, because I don't know how they expect somebody who has an ODSP to live the way we're living now on what they have, because it's not enough to go by, because people have to pay, people who live on their own have to pay rent, have to pay the bills, and that's not enough to to help out with that, because the government just needs to step up and realize that we need to just to live like anybody else with a job and have the money to live by. And I see where you're coming from, Yvonne, with all that stuff. And I do recommend the people who have ODSP to go talk to your prominent or your MVPs and tell them the issues that you have. And they could bring it back to the place in Toronto and talk about it. And hopefully someday we will get them to realize that we need to do something.
The only way we would get that happen, James, is that they would have to live with what the amount of money we get. They'll have to live on that. And then they would actually hear and understand what it feels, what it tastes like to actually go to the food bank for groceries every month, until they actually understand what the cost of living going up, the cost of rent. I mean, groceries go up, and we still are down below them, where they've got lots of money and the rest of us are not.
Yeah, I like to see the government trying to put those feet in our shoes and live the way we live right now, people of ODSP, because it's not enough to go by. And hopefully if they put themselves in our shoes and live like that for a while, maybe they will see and realize, oh, it's not enough. We need to do more. Hopefully that this will change something if that would be the case.
Is there a way that you could maybe suggest that to Marilee Fullerton and see what she would say to her supporters that are in the conservative leadership and or other parties, and this way they would actually see for themselves what it feels like, because Doug Ford, he said literally we're lazy, and we're not lazy. He
No.
said we're lazy and we're just sitting on our backs doing nothing, when we are. We're getting out there, making ourselves visible, we're advocating, we're speaking up, we're getting a job, we're doing lots of different things. And Doug Ford doesn't even seem to care about that.
No, and I will pass it on to those people that are going up there on the Monday to talk to them
Tuesday.
about those issues.
Tuesday, James.
Oh, it's a Tuesday, thank you, Tuesday, to talk about those issues. And hopefully that they will realize, and we'll keep our fingers crossed.
We have a couple more people with hands up. One that couldn't put his hand up, David Beresford.
Go ahead.
If you want to speak up, David, and I'll go back to the list of people we've got.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Scott. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to meet you all. My name's David Beresford, and I actually have been an advocate for Autism Canada since late last year, December, where I've submitted a few of my pieces, and I've been keeping in contact with Dominic, who's been a wonderful new connection. But anyway, it's just great to meet you all, and it's a real honor to be sitting here, talking to everyone and listening to everyone's different opinions and thoughts about what's going on. Yeah, I definitely have some of the same concerns as what some of the other people have been talking about this evening. There, in terms of anyone who's living on a low income or welfare, or in this case, ODSP. ODSP, I have to say, there are benefits to it. There's good sides of it too, is even though they don't give us too much, but at the same time, when we're not working, at least it's there to cover our rent, if not our whole rent, at least most of the rent they're able to cover in case if we're not able to work for whatever reason. So there's pros and cons to it. The other good thing is that they give you a work startup benefit cost of about $500, I believe, which basically means is that if you're starting a job like in general labor or a factory or anywhere else, they'll cover your costs for shoes or equipment or stuff like that, or if you need a computer, vice versa, different examples. But however, I definitely feel conflicted because I live here in East Hamilton, Stony Creek, Ontario. And again, I like my home where it is, and compared to a lot of other places out there, it's reasonable cost, but it's not cheap. And in a lot of ways, I do feel that, we are getting burned and shouldn't have to live in poverty, such a poor lifestyle, because a lot of ways, ODSP is not, giving us enough. And for the fact that only after $200 that we to work so hard for, and then they start deducting like what 50%, whatever the amount is. It's completely ridiculous. And the government, I agree, they do need more programs, especially for adults on the spectrum. And we need more support in terms of finding more affordable homes. So there's a lot of work and improvement that the government needs to make for sure. So I understand everyone's frustrations and concerns and pain as well.
Thank you, David. Yes, I do agree, because it's not enough for people to live on. And we need the government to, sit on their butts and say they're going to do something about it, and then turn around and not do anything about it. We need them to realize and to put their thinking caps on and say, these self-advocates mean business, and they're not going to step down until we do something about it, because it's not enough to do anything. And when they do call people back, that's not right either, because you earn those monies to make stuff. And so the government just needs to get off their ass and do something about it.
I don't think you could have put that any better, James.
Thank you.
Judy, your hand is up.
Go ahead, Judy.
Thank you, guys. I have a quick question. My question is, what if somebody is moving in with me? Will this affect my ODSP? I don't know.
Okay, good question, Judy.
Yeah.
If I could jump in on this one.
Go ahead, Nico. I'm not too sure about that one. You could.
So I just gotta turn my camera back on. Come on, start video. I'm gonna pin myself here. Oop, crap, wrong one. Come on, there we go. So if you're moving in with someone, let's say they're not on ODSP and you are, from what I was told is that you will still have a combined income. It has to be, you'll meet with them. They'll combine your income. If someone is on OW and you're on ODSP, again, they won't allow you both to have separate incomes. It'll be combined. Generally, the guideline is if you're living together, your income is combined, so it would actually be a bit less with the combined amounts. So that's something that has to be factored in. If you also say have a subsidy, and that'll depend on whether it's provincial or local, that can affect your living situation too. Because with certain subsidies, you're not allowed to have another person living there because that would eliminate your subsidy. It's very, I think some of it is on a case-by-case basis, but that's the general rules of what I've been told, because I've been through that situation myself years ago. So I completely understand that it can be frustrating for some people, and some people like to try and skirt around it by coming up with saying, oh, they're my roommate. But if you're in a relationship with that person, they tend to frown upon that, and it is frustrating. So those are kind of things that I've been told and you need to keep in mind, or for anybody to keep in mind if they're going to go through with that. So Mark and Ninja. I love that name.
Well, that's my dog's name. Ninja is my dog's name. I have a guide dog.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, Ninja is my guide dog. Service dog. So, no, I agree with all that. I also, like you guys said about, like, I see food prices going up, but ODSP is going up. Like, how do they expect us to pay for food? Like, I don't understand that half of it too. And it's like, yes, I'm able to work, but like I said, $200 and then they take $200. So it's not how we're getting ahead, right? That's, I don't understand of it, right? Something's got to change.
Yeah, I agree with, what's your name again?
Oh, Mark.
Mark, I agree with you, Mark. Yeah, because yeah, the food price is going up and it's going sky high through the roof. And I don't know how they expect people on ODSP to live that way, you know, because now people are going to rely on like food banks and stuff because they can't afford to go out to the grocery store and spend money on groceries because they have to decide either my rent, pay for the bills, or my food. And they should be able to pay for both.
Yeah,
Not one
and
or the
like,
other.
and it's like, I don't understand, like, exactly. I'm like, oh, I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Like, food's going up, and it's like, this doesn't make sense.
No, it's not making sense. Yeah, the food is going up because of the gas prices and stuff going up, and they're raising it so high. But I do see what you mean, and it's, you know, it's just crazy.
Right.
Just so guys, you know, for ODSP, they do give a service dog discount for people who have a guide dog or a service dog. They do give a discount for having
That,
a
not
service
sure,
dog.
Nico, you know?
I'm not familiar with that, but if someone's able to Google it and could put in the chat, that'd be great.
Sorry. So what I meant was ODSP does offer that. That's
Oh,
okay.
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 Sorry. They do offer that. That helps to pay for my dog's dog food every month and bills. So
All right, I'm
They
gonna
do
move
offer
down
that
with the
people who-
with the people's hands. We do have a few more people to get through
Yeah.
before we move on. Erica?
Yeah, I've been waiting for a while, sorry, but so 3 things. Saturday is World Autism Awareness Day, so please wear your blue if you can. Second thing is, I find it's also hard to find work. I mean, I find work on my own, but also because I'm independent living on my own, I am on my own. But that's beside the point. But people are not always, willing to hire people with different abilities. Some are, some aren't, depending if it's through agency or on your own. And then the third thing I was thinking of, I lost my train of thought because I was waiting for so long. I couldn't remember what I was going to say. It was work and ODSP, and then no, I don't even remember. So I'll have to come back to me because then I forgot because I was waiting for so long.
No worries, Erica. If you remember, just come on back or put your hand up.
Yeah.
Mark C.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick too, like I'm a self-employed advocate and artist, and one of the reasons that I am struggling to find somewhere else to live outside because my supportive living home is trying to evict me. Like I don't want to leave my peers because I need that mental health support right now, but I do know I can't stay here forever. But being a self-employed advocate and artist, and I have written and self-published some stuff and everything, I'm very blessed to be able to get at least try to achieve my dream and work towards goals. And I've been able to advocate and build the resume. But again, what about people that don't have that support or are too scared to try? And since we can't get jobs, I kind of went, well, I might as well create a job or try to, because I need a reason to, everybody needs a reason to get up. And like, I don't understand as people with disabilities, whether they be physical or otherwise, or combinations, why, once the spring comes or stuff like that, I mean, why don't we take a page out of BLM, Black Lives Matter? Why don't we go as a group and or with our allies? I've heard some people say they're with community living and everything, or People First, or this advocacy group or that advocacy group, which is great. But we have the biggest opportunity, the biggest population of people with, like disability knows no bounds between religion, faith, sexual orientation, or anything like that. So, I don't want to be one of those guys and say, let's go disability lives matter. Let's make our own thing, disability rights, disability, whatever. But if we come together and acknowledge all of our disabilities, but our abilities, and we say enough is enough, I truly do believe we can make some changes like they did in the 70s and 80s with the independent living movement. And I could talk about all these subjects passionately for a long time. So I just wanted to use that one big example because, I really do think we could do it together. And I hate to sound like a politician because I'm not one, but thanks.
Very well said.
Thank you.
I know we have a few more people with their hands up, but we do need to move on to the next section. If you do have a question, please drop it in the chat. We can try and get to them at the end if that's possible. Just trying
Go
to be
ahead,
mindful
Scott.
of the time. Oops, Scott, you're muted.
Turn on your mic, Scott. Turn your mic off.
There you go.
Thank you, everyone. These are great discussions. Let's continue to our next concern about passport funding and how it is not enough for people to participate fully in their communities. Does anyone have concerns about passport funding that they'd like the minister to know? Let's open the discussion up.
So I'm going to go down the list of the people that have not spoken yet. Mary C.
Go ahead.
Mary, go ahead.
I don't know if Mary's around. Maybe we go the
We'll go to
Uh,
Teresa next. I'll come back to you, Mary.
next one. Yeah, perfect.
Teresa, go ahead.
Boy, this is a good topic going on here tonight. Yeah, I think maybe the council needs to work with the OTSP people because a lot of things are going up with this COVID. And the other thing I'm looking at too, a lot of us who maybe be in our late 50s or late 40s, OTSP, they take after their checks and put you on seniors, but they don't help you out to translate over to the seniors pension. And there's a lot of stuff that's not covered because I found out from the Canadian Hearing Society in CNIB that a lot of stuff in the future that I'm gonna have to pay for. And then this, what do you call it? Well, you get so much money from the seniors pension, but then there's another lump sum you can get. I can't think of the name of it, but the problem is with everything going up, I'm quite worried about people in general with whatever type of disability. Are we going to be able to afford it? And I don't know for sure if the council's ever dealt with seniors pension people before or not, but I'm thinking that maybe some of the council is up in the 40s or whatever, and maybe start to think about that because it's going to be pretty tough. Because just with what I got told, they said I better supply for whatever I need now before I get to my 60s. And I said, well, I've been hearing it, but it's like, do the government really care about people like us? Like, and I'm trying to be rude about it, but it's more or less put us more and more in debt, and plus pushing you out on the streets, which is not our fault that everything's still going up like crazy. They're eating their steak and wine and that. It may be sound rude, but it's being blunt. They're living rich while we're getting more poor. So I don't know if the council's ever dealt with the seniors. The word I was trying, the senior supplement money you can get besides the little bit of money you get from the seniors pension. So.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
Moving
that.
on to Lloyd Thornhill.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Thank you. And what I want to speak about is like inflation is high, but the government don't look at the people with disability getting more money. But I think they should look at the people with disability get more money across Canada. Because you know, the job to live when inflation is 16%. It's not right to do that. Get inflation that high. They should try put inflation down lower, keep it around 10%, not 15 or 20%. That's not fair for people with disability. And the government, they put disability on the back burner, but the good that they keep it on the front burner and then look at it, the people with disability, and try to do more stuff for people with disability. So thank you.
No, you raise excellent points, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Judy, and then we'll go back to see if Mary's got her audio working. Judy?
Hey there, thank you. What I just wanted to say is with the passports, I think in the beginning they were doing it with who like how much money they were given for their needs and everything. And then when they started giving it to everybody, it was $5,000. I think it should be equal across the board with the money, because then there's no comparison or jealousy involved. I wish it was like that.
I remember what I was gonna say now.
Awesome. Yes, thank you, Judy. I couldn't agree more. I'll touch on that point in a moment. Mary, who was it that just chimed in?
Me, that was Erica, because I couldn't remember what I was saying, so I was waiting for a long time, but now I remember what I was gonna say, so I don't want to get
All right.
interrupted before I forget.
Go right ahead and then I'll bounce it back up.
Okay, thanks. So I know the children with autism are getting more funding and stuff, and this has been brought up in the news and other things, but I think the adults should also with autism should be getting more funding and other things like that too, just because the kids are more, maybe are more, they need more things like therapy or you know, and tactile stuff to like, you know, point being is I think the adults should also get funding or stuff like that to help also with their needs as well. That's what I think.
Excellent point. Mary, are you still there? I'm gonna just put you on the spotlight mode so we can see you. Can you hear us?
We can't hear you, Mary. We can see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Payal, can you in the chat send a message to her and just say that we cannot hear her? And just let her know we'll come right back to her. Ann Hicks.
Yes, I just want to follow up on a previous comment that was made. I'm actually a support worker for a number of people with passport funding. And I agree that the government needs to reevaluate the level of funding they're giving the individuals. 100% right. And I guess more of the recent ones is just kind of that minimum 5,000. When you try and spread that over 12 months, it certainly doesn't last too long. And when I see other individuals at a much higher rate, it just seems to be, I don't understand the equity in the way the funds are being distributed. So I think it needs to be reevaluated a bit.
Yeah, and I'll quickly touch on this. Has been a common note that I've been getting from people in the chat is that there should be consistency that everybody gets the same amount. And if there's certain special expectations that are being done for people or exceptions, it should be unified that everybody can get that same type of exception instead of it being one person getting one and another person who wants that same one doesn't get it. So I understand the frustration. And the fact that people are being approved for some stuff, but not others. So again, it's having that consistency.
And following up on that, I don't know if anybody on this call has gotten any information as to when the special guidelines with COVID might be ending. Because that certainly opened up the doors for a lot of not new activities, but new purchases. But we're expecting that door to slam close pretty darn soon, I think.
Yeah, there was an email sent out about passport, but I'm not sure what the new stuff or old stuff has been taken away, what's been also given, if there's anything. Because I tried to navigate it and I couldn't find it, and it was really hard to navigate what was going to be new, what's being taken away from the COVID stuff that we had during COVID.
Okay, so I had a person that messaged me with a question. Maureen Montgomery, go ahead and then I'll go back
Well, hello,
to
Nico. How are you?
I'm good. Oops, let me just
I've
put
been
you
right.
on.
I wrote some stuff yesterday and on the weekend. So I have been struggling a lot with COVID, not being able to go for walks to stores, friends, coffee shops, malls because of COVID-19, seeing my family and seeing my boyfriend also not being able to do day program because of COVID restrictions. I have not allowed anyone over. It feels like my rights have been taken away from me. So
Yeah.
that is true. That is true because I've been locked up and stuff. But now I got an email saying that I can go back volunteering. So I'm getting out more out of the house to do things. And I was really struggling with stress, couldn't handle it, and had to talk about it too with COVID-19. And
Yeah.
it's really hard.
No, I completely agree with you on that. Thank you, Maureen. Mary,
No problem, Nico.
Mary, how's your audio working now?
Can you hear me?
Yay, there we go.
Okay, thank you. Something has changed recently and I'm a tech novice, not a tech nerd. So generally just what I wanted to say is, one, I appreciate participating in this meeting this evening. I am a disabled person and have been for the past 22 years. And I'm a very political disabled person. I have been all my life. So I'm listening to the comments this evening and I have a lot of empathy for everyone. Certainly everything that you said mirrors my experience of the past 22 years. And I've been very active advocacy wise. So I don't want to discourage anyone from continuing to advocate, but I really suggest that the opportunity that needs to be seized right now on an individual basis and collectively is that there is an election in 2 months' time, and that even the delegation, I presume I'm not telling you how to do what you do, that's going to be meeting with Minister Fullerton, whose track record, from my standpoint, certainly is encouraging in terms of her long-term care portfolio, is to stress that we're voters. We are constituents. And that's when I do advocacy, which mostly is through social media because I'm basically housebound disabled, often bedridden. In everything I do around disability, social determinants of health, housing, poverty, all of the systemic issues, which candidly, I don't see that there having been any real improvement, either at the municipal, provincial, or federal level in the past 22 years. There are exceptions, but it's very slow. And we are, I believe, considered last and least, because I think that all three levels of government and societal attitudes don't see us as being full-fledged citizens or constituents, and most importantly, don't see us as a voting bloc. So the only thing I would do is encourage you on anything you post on social media, like I do, is put, in capital letters, PWD vote, and use the word constituent whenever you're speaking to someone, and remind them that you are a client, constituent, citizen, taxpayer. They're public servants. Of course, to do it politely, I can say that I have, along with so many others, helped to advance certain things. And I was very active on the ODSP special diet activism, particularly when the McGuinty government was looking to cut it 100%. So I can say, because aside from anything else, I was interviewed by Steve Paikin of TVO The Agenda, that I was among those who helped that benefit be retained. However, I also recognize it's far more restricted now than it even was then. So generally, that's all I'd like to contribute, is really to remind people very forcefully that they aren't better than you, that while our economic circumstances are reduced systemically, or abysmal systemically, it by no means speaks to our, socio capacity, our intelligence, our involvements as citizens, and our desire to not only individually but collectively improve the daily life for everyone, particularly those in the disabled community. I think in Ontario, if I remember correctly, 2.3 million or 2.6 million Ontarians have a disability. And nationally, I believe it's at least 6 million. So we do have clout, but we have to remind them that We are full citizens, we are constituents, we vote. And so I usually do 3 taglines in my social media posts, which is PWD vote, seniors vote, families vote. And that covers off everyone, because you may be the parent of someone who's disabled, a brother or sister, it may be you yourself. And really that's all I have to add to the discussion, other than if you are interested, but by no means am I, whatever, my handle online, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter is @AstuteCitizen. And I will also just say that I have politicians, ministers, senior level bureaucrats from every political stripe following me on all 3 and interacting, and virtually everything I post. I rarely post about myself, but I am always posting about the issues that each of you have raised tonight as being of critical concern and that aren't getting the funding that is required, and that we as taxpayers are contributing towards. So that's it. Thank you so much for hearing me out.
Thank you very much, Mary. That hashtag that you just mentioned for where people can find you, can you put that into the chat for me?
Yeah. Thank
It'll
you.
be shared with people. Some people won't be able to see it, but I'll make sure that it's reposted for people to see.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for all the good things you put forth. And thank you everyone for the good points on funding. Now we'll go to James. James, go ahead.
Before
please.
we do that, Scott, Heather Hawthorne, did you want to take a 5-minute pause, or are you okay? You're good? Okay, just wanted to make sure, because I know there's been a few people asking about that. Okay, so James, over to you for our final topic of the night.
Okay, thank you, Nico. Mental health is an important topic. We all need to make sure we take care of ourselves and reach out when we are expecting troubles. So if you against troubles, the government needs to be aware of how they could fund more resources for people who have a disability to help maintain mental health. For me, using my passport funding allowed me to buy my laptop and stay connected. What kind of things were you able to use in passport funding for the help you got through the COVID? And we'll open up for discussions. Anyone?
Start off with Judy at the top.
Go ahead, Judy.
Thank you. Oh, I received a lot through passports. As I am concerned about passports, I'm even more so grateful for them as well. I don't know what I'd do without that money. I got a laptop, I got a new TV, a new phone, better phone. It's the best phone I've ever had. I have, because I deal with bipolar 2 and ADHD, I'm very distracted and not organized, and my moods are all over. So I also got an Alexa, and the Alexa helps me. It does reminders for me. It tells me what's coming up on my calendar. It's been absolutely amazing. And with my laptop, since everything is online, without this laptop before, I had from an agency, I had what do you call those other things that aren't laptops, a Chromebook, and it wasn't working very well. And it got me this laptop, and I can hear and see and talk to you guys so freely now. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Judy. Anyone else?
Sadie and then Yvonne.
Okay, go ahead, Sadie.
I have a concern, but I also want to show some gratitude. So like, the first thing is a question. which is the concern that I'm asking about. What if someone has mental health issues that get in the way of them working? Because like I'm on ODSP, I'm really lucky because I also have a developmental delay. So legally, I've been allowed to be put onto ODSP. But what about other people who have mental health issues that cannot work? Because I also have mental health issues and I cannot work right now because my anxiety is so severe with COVID. So like I'm so thankful that I'm on ODSP. And I'm also thankful that I have a learning disability, because if I didn't have a learning disability, it would probably be a lot harder for me to be on ODSP. But what if someone doesn't have a learning or physical disability, but they have mental health issues? What are they going to do? But I want to share my gratitude that I am on ODSP, because if I worked during COVID, I don't know how I would handle it. I might handle it fine, but I might not with COVID. So I'm really thankful that I'm ODSP because I'm able to afford room and board. So basically spending a portion of the rent, like not the entire rent because I live with my parents, but like a portion of it. And I'm able to afford groceries and other necessities. So I'm so grateful that I'm on ODSP.
Thank you, Sadie. Yvonne.
Well, I would like to say that ODSP, passport funding, has provided me many options throughout this pandemic. I have been able to get a 34-inch computer, widescreen monitor, the biggest one you can find. I've been able to get a desktop computer. I've been able to get a printer. I've been able to get everything over the moon. But the only thing is, at first, when COVID started, passport funding allowed you to have the money ahead of time. Now they don't. Now you have to pay out of your own pocket, and hopefully you can get the money back, which they do give you the money back, but it's fun trying to find the money to pay first, so then you can send your receipt in to be reimbursed. I find that when people have talked so far about passport funding, when you get passport funding, you
Hey.
James, you're on the phone. Okay. When you get passport funding, you go through some kind of test to see what kind of thing you are. If you have high needs, you get more money and put on another list. I am on that another list, but still, who knows when that money will arrive. It's only when the government and whatever Merrily Fullerton speaks to the people with the Ministry of Communal Service, when will you get that money? You never know. You'll continue to get your 5,000 like usual once a year, which is going to be Friday morning when you get your next set of money, but you don't get anything past that. I would love to see it past that, because then a lot more options are available for all of us. I would like to see that if people don't have the money up front, the money that we were given back in 2020, I would like to see that back. Because if living on what we're getting, like, well, in ODSP, we're barely getting enough. How do you find the money to pay up front to get anything you need if you are struggling on low income? It continues to be a pressing matter, and it's never going to get any better with Doug Ford in. So if we can work on getting all this put in place, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Yvonne.
I'm going to turn it over to Erica, and I'm going to read one of the comments, or I'm going to summarize it from Andrew that sent it in the chat to me. Erica, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, pandemic and passport. I'm very, 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 very grateful because I've gotten a crap load of story. My language, it's not dirty, but it's clean. Crap load of stuff from passport. I've gotten puzzles. I've gotten coloring books. I've gotten arts, like coloring stuff, like pencils, Sharpies, all that stuff. I've gotten what else have I gotten? Exercise equipment. I've gotten art, like lots of art stuff. What else have I gotten? A whole bunch of other stuff I can't remember. Oh, external hard drive for my laptop. I might be able to get a new laptop if passport still covers it after this. I've been able to get a lot of things. I've been very, very grateful for passport. Also, gonna be able to go to movies, which I've been doing now that passport covers that. Some kitchen stuff, like I think they covered some of it. I can't remember what else is. I've gotten too many things, but I've been very grateful for it. I hope this some stuff will continue, like laptops and printers, as I think Yvonne was saying. Because I need one of those. My laptop's so old, not old, but it's old enough that I probably need to get a new one, or a printer because it doesn't work now. So I need to hopefully get a new one if passport covers that. Anyways, yeah, I've been very grateful for the stuff I've been getting with passport, like stuff over the pandemic. And if it wasn't for that, I'd be able to not be able. Oh, also got a new iPad with passport because I now be able to do stuff. And also some of the streaming services like Disney and Netflix, and I'm not sure about Apple, but I think Apple could still be covered with passport. But stuff that I'm hopefully still able to get. And now that I have been getting, continue to now, I've been very, very grateful. If it wasn't for that, I don't know what I'd do during the pandemic, not able to see people and not able to see my parents as much, but I was actually more. But anyways, point being is I'm very, very grateful that I was able to get this stuff during the pandemic because I don't know how to keep myself sane without this stuff, keep myself mind active and keeping social with friends and stuff.
I'm going to kill the mute feature. I'm going to read one of the things that came to me in the chat from Andrew, and it's regarding the mental health, and he touched a little bit on the passport before, but it was already answered. He said, I feel that people with disabilities should not be restricted anymore. It has been very harmful, I feel and believe. Being restricted from friends, family, and going out is not good for people's mental health, and I feel that they don't care about how we feel. Even homes with assisted living programs are almost being too overbearing about it. If you don't have symptoms, you should have freedom not to partake in certain functions. You're exposed over and over again to different things. Even if you don't have symptoms, you should be able to go on with your activity without being isolated. He has a friend that lives in 2 different apartments. He said, my friend and I live in 2 different apartments in the same building. But we were exposed to some person, but to the same person, essentially they were exposed to it, and it made it difficult for them to be able to participate in things. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand, Andrew. Like COVID took a lot out of people. And for me, and I'll just give a quick example, is that back when it started, I got into role-playing gaming with a bunch of people. And to me, that helped me take my mind off of all the craziness going on with COVID. And you get to just let loose, be yourself, and engage with other people. And to me, being a part of that is like being part of like a family. And you can share stuff with people if you want to. It's not an obligation to. But it's so important that you find things that help take your mind off of all this craziness. And for me, that was a huge thing because I got into gaming a long time ago, and I still do, even with the group I'm part of. And it's been a huge stress reliever for me. Being able to engage with other people, have conversations. We even have a section on one of our Discord channels. It's labeled mental health. So it is a non-judgmental posting area where you can express anything you want and no one will judge you. No one will criticize you. They're there to help you. And a guy that I've gotten to know quite well over the last 2 years him and I have actually started a movement called #OneThing, and I'll share that message with you guys at the very end so you have an understanding of that. But mental health has been affecting everybody in any possible way, and you just need to find those tools or techniques or things that'll help you keep you sane, but and also be able to reach out to others and communicate. Communication is so key. I cannot stress that enough. Never be afraid to reach out to someone if you're struggling. Erica, oh no, I think you already went, right? Yes, okay. Does anybody else have any more things to add to the mental health section? Seeing no hands.
David has his
Oh.
hand up.
Yeah.
Sorry, David, I didn't see it
Thank
pop
you.
up.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. One of the quick things I'd like to say when it comes to mental health, I mean, what's been going on over the past couple of years, I've just been dealing with it my own way. I mean, I've been struggling a lot at the very beginning with my own personal stuff that's been going on in my life. But, you know, like I'm getting a new laptop thing, gosh, just to help me out with some work and different things like that. But yeah, like most importantly, you know, I just been keeping busy as much as possible, you know, getting out, going out for walks. You know, I find that one of the most best things when you're feeling down in the moments, you're feeling all stressed out and anxious, you feel like you can't almost mentally function way, just surround yourself by nature. You know, it's a good way to take a deep breath and kind of reflect on your surrounding environment. But, you know, I would say do work on any art project, you know, whether it's writing or, you know, every once in a while, if you feel like you need to take a break, just watch some of your favorite movies or, you know, just do research period, just to find new things to interest you. So how we deal with our mental health is very important for sure.
Excellent point there. Judy, I'll give you the last words and we'll move forward to finish up.
Sounds good. I'll be quick. It also has helped with my mental health because I've met new people and it's kept the literacy program here in Guelph open so that we can meet and be safe. And it's way better than not seeing each other at all. Technology is huge important. And the same with the other person. I've gotten lots of art and stuff like that too. It's been amazing.
That was me.
Art is very therapeutic.
That it certainly is. So thank you guys. I think we will move on. Oh, Mark, and then we'll move on to finish up.
I'll make mine quick. I find with mental health and COVID, like I was able to get a tablet and I was able to talk to more people on and meet a whole bunch of new friends. So it was nice to meet people and stay connected. So that's all.
Thank you, Andrew. But if you want to move to the next slide, Meg. There we go. Scott.
Thank you, Nico. There are other concerns that we don't have time to discuss tonight that council will be sharing with the minister. These topics include grouping people in large-scale living environments, keeping people who have a disability out of nursing homes, and advocating for funding to allow people to grow old at home. If you are interested in keeping the conversation going, let us know in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nico, Megan,
Thank you, Scott. We would like to provide everyone with some resources on topics to discuss tonight. These are in the slide and will be posted in the chat and also emailed to all who have attended. Thank you for joining us this evening and providing us with your feedback. We are excited to meet with Minister Fuller on April 5th at 3 p.m. This meeting will be broadcast live. People interested in watching, the link to register will be posted in the chat and email to all attendees. Thank you for everything. Meg?
Nope, it's over to
Oh,
me.
Nico, go ahead.
So to wrap up, I want to say a huge thank you to Scott and James for doing an awesome job with the presentation tonight. To our audience for being there, engaging and talking. You can connect with us through the council website. I've put all the contact details in the chat as well. I have actually started working on a website to keep any of the conversations from either tonight or previous webinars we've done to keep that conversation going, because we encourage it. If it's not up and running, like I've got it set up, but it's still being set up. Reach out to me via my contact info. Scott is there, James is there, Megan's is there for now. I won't say why.
Nico, are you able to post in the chat the link to register to watch the meeting with Minister Fullerton on the 5th?
Was that link actually even released? Because
If
all
not,
I had from you.
we can
We'll make
email.
sure that it will be sent out. Sorry, I just got to repost the thing. I sent it to one person by mistake. Or
And
not
I
by
want to
mistake.
say a huge thank you to Heather, our interpreter for this evening. You did a wonderful job. Thank you for joining us.
Also noted, oops, and I did not put the, hang on. We do have additional resources and notes that have been gathered, as well as from the chat, which will be added to. It is a document that is in work in progress, so you will see stuff being added to it. I'm dropping the link to that. Oops, and I just sent it to Payal. People stop popping up directly. Try that again. There we go. So this is the resources notes page. You can go and check it out. I've added some stuff already from people that have sent things. I encourage anyone to please reach out to any of our council members if you have anything that you need to discuss that hasn't been covered tonight. Huge thank you to everybody involved in putting this together. Again, Heather, you did an awesome job with the interpreting tonight. To Heather Evans, who helped get us up and running onto the webinar tonight. All of our back-end staff, myself, Meg, Payal. Always love working with you guys on this stuff. And again, thank you to the audience for participating in this event tonight. I will leave you with my final notes of what I was talking about earlier very quickly. The hashtag one thing. This is a message that fits in with anything going on right now. It's a message I share with anyone, and some people have seen this message of mine. Remember to reach out and help someone, because if you help one person, they can pass that along and help someone else. The more you reach out and help someone, doesn't have to be big, can be something small. Be kind to each other, help each other, because you never know when you might need someone, where you might need help from someone else. Remember, you are not in this world alone. So let's stop acting like it. Again, thank you and good night.
Yeah, thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or any questions,
Thank
just
you. Good night.
email us and we'll get back to you with those questions.